Imagine being invisible for just one day. Imagine all the good you could do with that power, the lives you could change, the bad situations you could make infinitely better. But let's be real here. All you're really thinking is how easily it would be to creep on your sexy neighbor, or the girl, or guy in your class who you've got the hots for. If that's you, and you know it is, then this movie is right up your alley, pervert. Dr. David Dornwinkle is the laughingstock of the scientific community after claiming that he's created a serum for invisibility. Now exiled by his peers, Dornwinkle has taken a job teaching a summer school physics class to a bunch of punk kids. And there's the slight matter of him having killed several of his peers for mocking him, being institutionalized, escaping the institution, changing his identity, and so forth. You see, Dornwinkle is unhinged. He's perfected his serum, and his students have chosen the worst possible time to play a prank on him. Revenge, it turns out, is also a pretty simple undertaking when you're invisible. Every so often, I compile a list of movies that are either trapped on tape or deserted on DVD. Movies that have either never made the jump from VHS to any other format, or movies that received a DVD release, but that's it. And until now, The Invisible Maniac is a movie that had been on that list for a very long time. I first saw the movie way back in the day on VHS. I actually owned a copy on VHS. I remembered it being a sleazy, cheesy, fun, tongue-in-cheek comedy horror movie from a guy named Riff Coogan. Even then, I remember thinking, Riff Coogan? That's not a real name. You see, Riff Coogan is the alter ego of Adam Rifkin. Early in his career, Rifkin had the idea of developing this split personality, Riff Coogan. Coogan would take credit for directing exploitation movies, while Rifkin would take credit for directing the classier stuff. So for every Psycho Cop Returns and The Invisible Maniac from Riff Coogan, we got Detroit Rock City or The Last Movie Star from Adam Rifkin. Personally, I'm more of a Riff Coogan guy myself, but that Rifkin fella ain't bad either. The Invisible Maniac is a middle school boy's wet dream come true. In fact, Dr. Dornwinkle, once invisible, spends a good deal of time in the women's locker room and the women's shower. He sneaks into one of his female students' bedrooms while she's sleeping, and not to deliver her report card. More than one victim is stripped topless prior to meeting their demise, because maybe Dornwinkle's hand slipped, like he was reaching for the throat, and he's invisible. How do you know? Yes, it's gratuitous, and yes, it's sleazy. However, it's never mean-spirited and obviously not meant to be taken seriously. That's apparent from the word go when we're introduced to young Dornwinkle, who draws his mother's ire after getting busted peeping on his neighbor while she undresses. Very slowly undresses. Actually, it's more like a striptease. So now we know where the desire to be invisible sprang from. I love Noel Peters' performance as Dr. Dornwinkle. Now, I've done some acting myself, and when the director asks you to ham it up, you just gotta go for it. Forget that people are watching you, and don't be concerned with how ridiculous you're gonna look. Commit to the ham. And that's what Peters does here. This is a performance from an actor who has committed, body and soul, to hamming it up. It's an impressive performance, to say the least. Did I mention that one of the side effects of the invisibility serum is that it boosts Dornwinkle's libido? Hence all the time spent in the girls' locker room and the girls' shower. As a matter of fact, I would say at least 30% of this movie takes place in either the girls' locker room or the girls' shower. It isn't until the last act of The Invisible Maniac that it sort of turns into a slasher movie. Dr. Dornwinkle takes a big page out of Freddy Krueger's playbook because his post-kill puns are pretty on point. The Invisible Maniac is the same sleazy, cheesy, fun comedy horror movie that I remembered it being. It's dumb fun, but damn good dumb fun. So imagine my elation when I heard that Vinegar Syndrome was not only releasing The Invisible Maniac on Blu-ray, but a 4K no less. I mean, leave it to Vinegar Syndrome to make The Invisible Maniac's Blu-ray debut a 4K. As for the 4K presentation on this release, I thought there was a fair amount of detail present, the skin tones looked natural, and there was zero noticeable damage from the source material. On the downside, nothing really pops here color-wise, and the grain levels, at times, are pretty thick. Still, I thought the movie looked great on this release. Overall, I'd give the picture quality a 4 out of 5. As for audio, this release comes with a DTS HD Master Audio mono track. I thought the audio was clear and full-bodied. I'd give the audio quality on this release a 4 out of 5 as well. This release comes with a beautiful, high-quality slipcover. I unfortunately did not get in on the limited edition lenticular slipcovers, which those are now going for upwards of $200 on eBay. As a matter of fact, I'm currently locked in a bargaining war with a seller who has theirs listed for $130, but they're accepting offers. So I offered the seller $25. They countered with $120. I countered with $23. Reverse psychology. But they countered again with $120. Not to worry, I'll haggle them down. And no, I don't just want that slipcover because it's nudie. I'm a collector, okay? The sleeve on this release is also reversible. On one side, we have the newly commissioned artwork, and on the reverse, we have the original poster art. As far as extras are concerned, first up we have a fast, cheap, and out of sight, the making of The Invisible Maniac. It's 32 minutes and 8 seconds in length. It includes interviews with writer and director Adam Rifkin, producer Cassian Elwes, actors Rod Schweitzer, Debra Lamb, and Stephanie Blake, crew member Don Povenmire, and composer Mark David Decker. Mr. Rifkin and Mr. Elwes discuss the inception of The Invisible Maniac and the explosion of the home video market in the late 80s and early 90s. Rifkin discusses his lunch with John Landis, of all people, that planted the seed of The Invisible Maniac and the birth of Riff Coogan. Mr. Schweitzer, Ms. Lamb, and Ms. Blake discuss getting cast in the movie, acting as if you're fighting and or being killed by an invisible man. They discuss the shooting locations, the score, the dream sequence shot for the extended European cut, the movie's premiere, and more. Next, we have the dream sequence that was shot for the extended European cut. It's 13 minutes in length. Next, we have an interview with Riff Coogan from the Request Video Public Access show. It's 12 minutes and 11 seconds in length. We actually get to hear the backstory of Riff Coogan straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, and it's quite interesting. Next, we have the music video for He's Invisible, the Invisible Maniac theme song. We get behind-the-scenes footage from the He's Invisible video shoot. We get the original video trailer, and we get 2 audio commentaries, the first with Adam Rifkin, moderated by Elijah Drenner, and the second with The Hysteria Continues. This is a lovely 4K UHD release for The Invisible Maniac from the fine folks over at Vinegar Syndrome. Again, I am tickled pink. I am happy as a clam. I am over the moon that The Invisible Maniac is no longer trapped on tape. I highly recommend the movie, and I highly recommend this release from Vinegar Syndrome. If you've seen The Invisible Maniac, please let me know your thoughts about the film down in the comments section below. If you picked up this release from Vinegar Syndrome, please let me know your thoughts on it as well. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up and share it on social media. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description. As always, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time, peace. Thank you to all my patrons and channel members. I appreciate your generosity and support of my channel. Become a patron today and have a say in what content appears on my channel. Join me for monthly live streams and much more. Become a channel member today and get access to exclusive badges and emotes to use when I stream. Both those links are in the description. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.